In an object-oriented programming language like Java, or in this case, Python, a class is defined as a blueprint for creating objects. This object provide initial values for state, in this case, member variables or attributes, and also control the behavior of functions and methods. Most importantly, classes define the structure and objects, okay, and also provide facilities that are going to be used to create instances of that class. Now, let's look at an example here. All right, so let's create, so to create a class, you just type class, and then we can name this class, for example, dog, right? We use this def key to define our own method. So here, I'm just going to explain in a bit. So let me just type there init. So here, so I'll explain in a moment here. So we have self, and then we want two attributes here, name and breed of this dog, right? Then after that, we're going to use the self dot name equals to name. And then we have the self dot breed equals to breed. Okay. Then we can create here another method called bark, right? So bark here, just say self, right? And what we want it to do, so we want it to print maybe let's say our dog here kind of barks woof, right? So let's explain what these things are. So this is an example of a dog class, right? It has two attributes, name and breed, okay? And one method called bark, okay? Now this init parameter here, or init method, is a special method in Python class. It's also called a constructor. It's used to initialize the attributes, these two attributes of this dog class. Then the self parameter here is a reference to the instance of this dog class, okay? And it's used to access these attributes, name and breed. That's why we use the dot notation to access the attributes and also the methods. As you can see, we access the method here, such that now, for example, if we were to create a dog here, maybe dog1 equals to, then this dog will inherit, will inherit using the self here from the dog class, okay? All right, so once the class is defined, we can create a new instance of the class object by calling the class name as a function. So to do this, so let's go ahead and create a dog class or instance of the dog class. So just say dog1 equals to, then we reference the dog class here, and we can call our dog here maybe Rex, right? Rex here is the name, this attribute. Then we can call this maybe, let's say this is a golden retriever, for example, okay? So that's a golden retriever. So here we've just created an instance of the dog class. Again here, so we want to access the attributes of the dog1, for example. So we'll just say print, okay? So print dog dot dog1 dot name, okay? Remember here the self here, so just be reference this referencing the instance of that class dog, okay? So this should output, so here we are saying it should output, the output here should be Rex, okay? Then again here we want to print dog1 dot breed, right? So just select that, and the output here we should expect it to be the golden retriever. So we can just copy this and paste it here, okay? So lastly here, we want to call the back method here, so that now the dog object, so when you call this method, we need to print out woof, the bark, right? So dog1 back here, so we want it to bark. So here you already know that the output here will be woof, okay? So when we print this now, you can see now we've not only display the output and rather the name of our dog, our new instance of dog1, Rex, and it's a golden retriever, but we've also accessed the method. And that's how to quickly write a class. So here we can see we've created an instance of the dog class called dog1, and we've assigned it to a variable called dog1, right? We then accessed the attributes of the attributes of the dog1 object using the dot notation here. Okay, so for instance, this is dog1.name and dog1.breed, and lastly we call one of the method called dog1.back. So another example here. So here I just remove that. Again, just following the same thing, we've created a class called greeter, right? And then it has only one attribute, and then we create an instance. So we just use the self here to create an instance. This class also has another method called greet, and then we initialize this to false, right? And we can use the if else here. So we are saying here, if loud, right? So remember here the default is false. If loud, then greet the just say hello and then the name here, and then change it to uppercase, for example. Okay, else hello, that means loud equals to false. It will just be the name as it is. So again, here we create an instance of the greeter class and assign it a variable called G. Then G, we use the dot notation to access this method here. Okay, and we'll just check here. Again, because we didn't pass anything here. So if we pass here an argument loud equals to true, then again here we'll just capitalize hello here to upper. So let's run that. And that's what we have. So you can see it capitalize this to actually capitalize the name because we just changed this argument to true. All right, in this example again, we see we have a class here called person, has two attributes, name and age, right? And also we have one method, right? This method, we wanted to just greet the name of the person and the age. So we create an instance of this object. So we've created one object here, instance of that object, person1, and this person takes the following arguments, the name and the age. So how do we access the attributes of this? So to access the attributes, essentially here we just say print, right? So we want to print person1 dot. So here we want to access the name, right? As simple as that. Then here, the next one here, we just want to print person.age. So we want to just person1 dot age, right? So here we should be able to output the we should be able to output the age here as 45, for example, and here we'll output the name as John. Okay, now once we have that, we can call the object here. So calling the objects is pretty simple. So what we're gonna do here, we just say person1 dot say hello. All right, so here we just forgot one. So say hello, right? Here we expect it to just print out the entire thing. So we just say hello, my name is John and I'm 45 years. Simple as that. Okay, and that will be the output actually here, like that. All right. Again, the next thing here, we can create another person, right? Let's create another person, person2. So here we can create person2, and we can initialize this. We can actually initialize this. We can get an instance of class person. We can now parse the attribute. We can say, let's call this person Jane, and Jane is maybe 18 years old, right? So once we have done that, we can do the same thing here. So just copy that, and we can now paste it over here. And now we just change this to 2, and then we also change this to 2. So output here will be Jane, and the age here will be 18 based on these two parameters here. Okay. Now to call the output here, to call the object here, so just say print, or rather we can just say person2 dot say hello, right? As simple as that. So when we run this, we should be able to see the outputs as mentioned. So the first one here, it prints the name John and the age. Then here we want it to say hello and say hello, self.name, self.age. And you can see here, we've already formatted that. Same thing here for Jane. Just say hello, my name is Jane, I'm 18 years old. All right. So in summary here, we can say that classes inherit properties and methods from other classes. We've already seen that. This concept is what we call inheritance, right? Meaning that you can create a new class that kind of inherits properties and methods from an existing class. All right. So, and lastly here, classes just provide a a way to group related data, what we call attributes, and also control the behavior of these classes, what we call methods, right? And multiple objects we've seen here, we've created two objects, person one and person two, can share the same characteristics. In our case here, name and age. All right. And that's just a high level overview of classes. All right.